Do you think a far lefty can win a national election in this day and age? A presidential election. Do you think that could happen?
Far left, you mean like AOC?
Yes. I'm just whether it's what you said about Newsom, whether it's an AOC. I mean, do you think somebody like that can win a general election for the presidency of the United States in this day and age? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
On Stephen A. Smith's show, Ma came out swinging. He blasted the woke mob, Hollywood elites, and Democrats for being stuck in their echo chamber instead of dealing with reality.
The Democratic Party is a ghost brand. You know what a ghost brand is? It's like Sears or, General Electric. Still a company, Abercrombie and Fitch, but they've really fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
But they've been around for a long time. So there is value in, it's an asset, right? Because there are still people who know of the company, and if you could have somebody take it over, who's not sentimental about that company and, relaunch it, rebrand it. But it would have to be somebody who is unapologetic about calling them out. People have lost faith in the Democratic Party for very good reason.
With cutting intensity, he took aim at the DNC, calling out what he sees as glaring flaws in their strategy to retake the White House. The outspoken comedian pulled no punches, delivering his critique without restraint. Here's how it unfolded.
He insulted MAGA. That's different. And he didn't lie. He said what he thought was true, which I disagreed with. I mean, I gave my spiel about it on the show last week, and, it was basically saying something very different than what Jimmy said. I don't think he got it right. I think he's, quite frankly, in his liberal bubble. This is why, let's be real, those shows are struggling, is because they, I think, arrogantly dismiss half the country. They don't speak to them.
Bill Maher opens by ripping into Hollywood, blasting entertainment elites for ignoring reality and hiding behind their own illusions. Then he turns his fire on politicians, accusing them of playing roles instead of leading with honesty. He calls out their refusal to level with the American people and makes it clear no one is getting a free pass. The real sting comes once it's obvious which party he's aiming at. But before that reveal, Stephen A. Smith pushed him on Jimmy Kimmel's late-night return, and Maher didn't hold back.
It's a problem. And in the liberal bubble, it had to be someone who was also MAGA, who shot a MAGA guy. My piece was just about how you can't even try to make sense politically of a lot of these people who commit these political atrocities, because they're just crazy, and it's. I wish it was politics. That would make it a lot easier. It's actually nihilism. They don't believe in it.
This is exactly why Bill Maher gets under people's skin. Unlike other late-night hosts, he's willing to scorch his own side. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel and his liberal allies stay trapped in an echo chamber, surrounded by voices that parrot the same script. Over 95% of their guests are staunch liberals, with conservatives either shut out completely or replaced by safe Republicans who won't rock the boat. But here's the twist. That formula is failing. Their shows are bleeding cultural relevance because they've alienated half the country. By silencing the voices that could have brought authenticity and unpredictability, they've stripped late night of the very edge that once made it matter.
All over the map politically, they just want you to hurt like I do. And that's where that was. Jimmy had a different take. He's allowed to have a different take. He's allowed to be wrong. So, some of this stuff gets put out there, and then it becomes like the narrative. He lied. He didn't lie. His take was just wrong, in my view. And he didn't insult the person that they were worried about getting insulted. And on that score, yes, I mean, I've been always clear about what I think about it. There's no quarter for people who forgive any kind of political violence. Once you start with, yeah, but what he said was terrible. I don't care. Irrelevant if you think whatever you think of it. We don't each other in this.
Ma hammers the point by exposing the left's real mindset. To them, conservatives are backward, ignorant, and stripped of any respect for human life. MAGA supporters, they claim, are blind zealots, incapable of reason, immune to common sense, and unfit for real debate. That smug caricature is the one they cling to. So when Jimmy Kimmel rushed to slap the MAGA label on the perpetrator, it wasn't about evidence. It was about feeding the liberal script that paints conservatives as dangerous, irrational, and automatically guilty. Maher shredded that hypocrisy with ruthless clarity.
About Trump's reaction to Jimmy Kimmel being pulled off the air, and his reaction. I mean, when Charlie Kirk got assassinated, the first words that came out of Trump's mouth is that it was the left. And obviously, when Jimmy Kimmel said what he said, Trump wanted him pulled off the air, even though it was the FCC chairman that really went about the business of making threats along those lines. What were your thoughts about it?
Ma doubles down on one of his core beliefs, freedom of speech. He's crystal clear that no one should be silenced, canceled, or erased just for having a different opinion. America, he argues, was built on debate, the free exchange of ideas, and the right to challenge each other without fear. Instead of punishing people for disagreement, we should sit down, talk, argue, and counter with facts and logic. Democracy, he warns, thrives on the clash of perspectives, not forced conformity. Lose that, Ma says, and we lose the very soul of America.
Unsurprised? Come on, Donald Trump's been on the stage a long time. You always know he's going to go 100 miles an hour in that direction. You know, he is an actor who commits to the part. Man, this is about actors, as long as we're on.
Trump isn't putting on an act. He comes off as the real deal. No mask, no script, no polished performance to fool anyone. What you see is what you get. That raw authenticity is exactly what fuels his supporters' fierce loyalty, because they see a man who refuses to pander to Washington insiders or Hollywood elites.
When you look at Trump and some of the things that he says, what are you more concerned about in this day and age, Bill? Is it how the right feeds off of what he says, or is it how the left reacts to what he says? What has you more concerned at this particular moment in time as we just purview the landscape, look at our country and the state of affairs that's going on?
Exactly. In contrast, the left trots out career politicians and media darlings who thrive on pretense, stage theatrics, and hollow pandering. They recite scripted lines for applause, but never risk telling hard truths. Maher's point lands hard. Trump may have flaws, but at least he's real. And in today's political circus, authenticity is rare. The irony? It's now the left that won't stop screaming about free speech.
But that you always, like what you were just saying before I came on about free speech, and you said, well, you know, let's be honest, the left sort of courted this a little bit because they weren't exactly champions of free speech. So you always have to look at that. I mean, I know that the woke people don't like it that I do.
Let's be honest. It's only happening because they're out of power and no longer controlling the narrative. Back when they held the reins, silencing voices, censoring dissent, and crushing debate didn't bother them one bit. Now, suddenly, they're terrified the same tactics could be turned against them.
They've fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
But they've been around for a long time. So there is value in, it's an asset, right? If you could have somebody take it over, you know, relaunch it, rebrand it, but it would have to be somebody who is unapologetic about calling them out. People have lost faith in the Democratic Party for very good reasons. You know, you're the only one I hear who, like, doesn't look like he cares what the other Democrats will say about it.
I don't care. And I really don't.
Right, I know.
I don't give a damn what they say. I really don't.
I know.
They leaned heavily on social media to wipe out stories and viewpoints that challenged their agenda, slapping misinformation on inconvenient truths to bury them. Cancel culture became their weapon, going after authors, comedians, journalists, even ordinary people who dared to push back. But now that the tables have turned, they've suddenly rediscovered their love for free speech. The hypocrisy couldn't be more blatant.